From the 30th of October to the 1st of November, 1998, representatives of government, civil society, and international organizations met in Seoul, Republic of Korea, to consider the challenges and opportunities facing the region on the eve of the new millennium. This regional Millennium Meeting for Asia and the Pacific was co-hosted by UNDP and the government of the Republic of Korea. The 150 participants from 30 countries in the region discussed elements of a new vision that would renew their commitment to sustainable and equitable development while facing the challenges of a globalizing world.
Welcome to the Regional Millennium Meeting, co-hosted by UNDP and the Government of the Republic of Korea.
I believe that the Regional Millennium Meeting will not only encourage constructive discussions among distinguished participants present here today, but it will also spread these important messages throughout our region and to the rest of the world, once again contributing to the consolidation of regional and global partnership.
UNDP 밀레니엄 회의의 개막을 선언하는 바입니다. 감사합니다.
In recognizing the need to chart a way forward for transformation and growth, the participants identified the following principles and commitments. There is a sense of urgency to shift to a new development paradigm at national, regional, and global levels. This would overcome existing disparities in basic human development within and among countries, and to help countries recover speedily from the current economic and social turmoil in the region.
So many countries in Asia have had path-setting records in poverty reduction and in achieving human development, but the financial crisis has deepened and spread beyond all expectation and good sense, resulting in an enormous reversal of fortune in many countries. But let's be clear about one thing. Everywhere it's the poor who are paying the highest price for this mismanagement of global finance. This is a sad result and we simply shouldn't accept it. These developments make this meeting, this Millennium Meeting, all the more important. They underscore that not even economic progress can simply be left to the market. If the state is needed to save the market from itself, imagine how much more the state is needed to save people.
Somewhere amidst the hothouse of growth of global balance, people tend to forget that they are dealing with the real people, with real problems, and with the varying priorities. We cannot have a situation wherein certain elites in the developing world continue to be globalized, while large chunk of population continues to remain marginalized.
I hope with more political commitment that coming in after this conference, this period of recovery can be much faster than what we hoped before.
The new development paradigm would address gender, ethnic, and other social inequities faced by vulnerable sections of the population by promoting equal opportunities and responding to people's aspirations.
Gross national happiness is more important than gross national product, whereby happiness takes precedence over economic prosperity in our national development process.
To realize this vision, countries and people require new capacities and institutions which build on social and cultural diversity.
The world has become more interrelated, and yet, in a sense, smaller, denser, and more polluted than ever before. A holistic vision of development incorporating all sectors in the picture, accountability for our actions, appreciation of diversity in nature and society, clear direction, and undertaking the rights of the future generations are the keys to sustainability for the future.
The voice of the new millennium, the voice of the youth of today, must find expression through greater opportunities in education, employment, and political participation.
I carry with me the hopes of a young girl from Indonesia who dreams of an environment which will support future generations. I carry with me the hope of a poverty-stricken Indian who dreams of proper food, shelter and clothing, and through the efforts of the community may be able to send his children to school to ensure their future. But these hopes cannot be realized unless you, the leaders of today, walk with us, the leaders of tomorrow. This is therefore a time for creating opportunities for the youth, for bridging the gap between generations, for striving to walking towards a better future.
Ecological balance is as essential as social equity for human progress and needs to be fully integrated in all aspects of economic decision-making.
Many societies around the world have yet to embrace the simple to understand but difficult to implement concept that economic development and environmental responsibility are inextricably linked and indeed must be mutually supportive. And beyond the environment now, of course, we recognize the environment is just not an issue on its own. It is a symptom of an imbalance in our industrial civilization, and an imbalance that must be redressed because of its human, social, and indeed even survival consequences.
Human progress requires humane governance that goes beyond efficient economic and political administration. It is governance that addresses people's security and promotes well-being. It is governance that does not concentrate power but empowers the disadvantaged and mediates between differences. It is based on inclusive public policy, which strengthens the relationship among civil society, private, and public sectors.
When we demand peace, it must be not only a peace which holds bombing and gunfire. It must also be a peace concerned with the welfare and health of all people. For truly, when poverty and inequality remain at such terrible levels, armed conflict will be inevitable.
Many of the countries that we represent are multi-ethnic and multicultural in character. We have therefore to empower all sections of the community by means of devolution of political power. The setting up of provincial, regional and local institutions that are able adequately and immediately to respond to the needs and the aspirations of the people.
I think this conference should try and address especially the global part of it, as to how can we ensure mechanisms through which civic engagement, civic voices can be raised in a way to ensure that the good governance or the humane governance does get ensured in all possible spheres.
Countries must jointly take responsibility for the provision of global public goods, such as peace and security, trans-border environmental sustainability, and prevention of diseases such as HIV/AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. The potential unleashed by technology, trade, communications, and capital flows among countries must be realized to ensure benefits for all. It must therefore be tempered by a greater sense of equity among unequal players within and among countries.
I think the most important thing for a country is to get your economy strong, to put the economic development as the top priority in all the government policies in order to enable you to participate effectively in this globalization process. In the meantime, you have to pursue a correct policy, trade policy, investment policies, financial policies, in order to enable you to participate in this process in a very effective way so as to take most advantage of this process and avoid the risk this process could generate.
Whilst we are talking about East Asians successfully maneuvering through the trade arena, we must also look at the problems of LDCs in which the trading system has not treated them so well, especially with the fall in commodity prices. What are the kinds of policies that have guided Asian countries as they welcome foreign investment, but in a selective way, not in a laissez-faire way? This is something that we might want to consider as well.
It was very encouraging that while the grave financial crisis in the region was given due attention at the meeting, there was proportionate focus on the broader and long-term issues like poverty, population, environment, security, and happiness. And we also hope that the special concerns of the many small many smaller and weaker countries in the region will not be forgotten.
The next millennium will be an era of a knowledge revolution. Without access to information technology, countries who have already been marginalized will be further excluded from global opportunities. Technical cooperation within the region in development of information technology, infrastructure, and capacity could help redress the growing disparities.
I think the sharing of information and technology is very important in the future. But the reality is there is a huge gap between the haves and the have-nots in the developed countries and undeveloped countries in terms of access to information and technology. And we cannot dismiss the nature of, human nature of competitiveness. And as we cannot forget about this competitive world, how can we achieve equitable society in the future? And how can we facilitate the immediate info sharing and technology sharing of the developed country to undeveloped country?
The transition from industrial society to information society will demand more profound change in our way of thinking and doing work. Yet, the transition to information society is not a choice, but necessity.
Responsive global governance must parallel national responsibility for development actions. A global regulatory system, albeit imperfect, exists for trade and the environment. Countries in the region should have a voice in making these and other existing frameworks more equitable. Similarly, they should actively participate in developing such systems for finance, investment, and information technology.
This meeting reflects our hopes, our concerns for the new millennium, which is associated with the great success achieved by humanity in the past millennium and the fears and concerns related to the many crises which are facing mankind today.
The new directions, the new destiny is in our own hands, and we must not underestimate this, what we can do ourselves, what we as individuals can do to help move towards positive changes.
We have been compelled by the financial and economic crisis to more rigorously and critically examine the development options before us. But we should not wait for crises to move beyond reflection to actions that will protect and promote sustainable and equitable development. We commit ourselves as members of the Asia-Pacific community and as partners in development cooperation to voice this vision in national, regional, and global dialogue. Our global destiny depends on the national and regional choices that we make. We commit ourselves to take the necessary steps into economic, social, and environmental policy and to support national efforts in order to realize this vision.